Hey guys, my name is Mateo, and today I wanted to take a look at the brand new AN-94 assault rifle that's been added into Battlefield 4. This has quickly become my favorite new gun out of the new Weapons Crate DLC. Not just because it's unique and it's a lot of fun to use, like this thing has some really cool properties to it, but also because it is a dominant medium to long range weapon when you get the handle of things. Like this thing is a hell of a lot of fun to use. And so the reason why I'm in love with it is for its very unique rounds per minute and burst fire capabilities. If you use this in fully automatic, which I do not recommend, it has a pitiful 600 RPM. Really nothing to write home about. But as soon as you put it into burst fire, it kicks up all the way to 1,200. So those two bullets are gonna fly out of the chamber incredibly fast. It's not as crazy as it was back in Battlefield 3. In Battlefield 3, there wasn't any restriction to how quickly you could burst fire the weapon. If you were amazing with the Battlefield 3 AN-94, you could get this thing flying. Like, you could maintain that incredibly high RPM and allowed you to dominate not only at long range, which is what the weapon is made for, but also in close encounter combat because of that absurd rounds per minute. And while you still can do reasonably well in close encounter combat if you are accurate enough, one of the ways that DICE balance it out in Battlefield 4 is that there now is a burst fire restriction. You have to wait a split second before you can fire another burst. And so while every single time that you squeeze a trigger, if you are in the burst fire mode in semi-automatic, those two bullets are going to travel out of the rifle at 1,200 rounds per minute, but then there's that short delay, and then the next two are going to once again resume at 1,200 RPM. Personally, I really like the way that they decided to balance it out. It still is going to reward the player that gets skillful. It's going to reward the player who masters the weapon, and they can still do well up close, but it's not going to be that ridiculous dominant force that it was back in Battlefield 3. It does share the same damage model as all of the other assault rifles, though. It doesn't mix it up too much in this category, doing 24.5 damage up close and then dropping off to 18 at long range, but where it really separates itself from the pack is its amazing bullet spread. This thing is laser beam-like accurate. The only other weapon, or really comparable to this in the assault category, is the SAR-21. Both of these guns have no problem whatsoever taking people out at long range. Not only that, and one amazing thing that DICE has added in with this most recent update is that slower RPM weapons are going to recover from bullet spread increase faster than the higher RPM weapons. To give you an example, the AEK, everyone gravitated towards it because if you could reel in the recoil, the bullet spread was so manageable, it wasn't all that difficult to deal with, that you could still snipe people at long range no problem. High RPM guns in Battlefield have really been dominant. Like, if you could manage the recoil on pretty much any of the higher RPM weapons, you could do much better than using something like the SAR-21 because that crazy RPM would give you that advantage and you could manage that recoil. And so what they've done to balance out this dynamic is that if you do want to use the AEK, that's fine, but you're going to have to deal with more bullet spread, and it's going to take the weapon longer to recover from the bullet spread as soon as you release the trigger. So in the past, what you could do with the AEK is you could tap fire someone down at a distance. As soon as you notice that your bullets were flying every which direction because of that increased bullet spread, you would just wait a split second, hold off on the trigger, and then resume firing. You would get that pinpoint-like accuracy, and then you could drop your target. Now, though, you have to wait longer than a split second if you want to get that optimal accuracy. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer to recover from the bullet spread. On the flip side, if you want to use something like the SAR-21, the AN-94, the slower RPM weapons, not only do you have less bullet spread to deal with to begin with, but you're also going to recover from it significantly faster than the higher RPM guns. I think that this is a marvelous adjustment. There wasn't much incentive, at least for me, to use something like the SAR-21. Sure, it was accurate, but there just wasn't enough incentive because it didn't have the damage output to go toe-to-toe with someone who could just manage the recoil, manage the bullet spread, and have no problem taking me out at a distance because they had that higher damage output. And so while it's a little bit too early to tell if this has completely changed the dynamic, I like the adjustment. I think it is a great step in the right direction. gun, and the AN-94 definitely applies with this accuracy. One downside of it, though, is that it has a crazy long reload time. The short reload time is going to take you 2.4 seconds, which is quite long, but its long reload is going to take you a staggering 3.5 seconds if you've gone through all of your rounds. Make sure you still have a bullet in the chamber. It's not too hard to do that because this is a burst fire gun. It's not like you can just squeeze the trigger and all of your rounds are going to fly out like crazy, but just make sure you have a bullet in the chamber because going through a 3.5 seconds feels like an eternity. It does have a very manageable recoil though, as I'm sure all of you were expecting when the AN-94 launched. Its vertical is a little high. That is one thing that you're going to have to work around, especially with that first shot multiplier, but don't worry whatsoever about this thing wiggling much to the left and the right. Like its left and right kick is basically non-existent. I would recommend slapping on the angle grip as soon as possible. You unlock it, thankfully, really quickly. Like, it doesn't take many kills to unlock not only the Cobra sight, which you're going to want to use. The iron sights are all right, but they have nothing over the Cobra sight. Like, the red dots are always going to give you more field of view. Like, they're objectively better. But I'd also recommend using the angle grip because while it's not a crazy recoil, you're going to want to do everything you can to make it less, and the angle grip is going to be the perfect attachment for doing so. But overall, I am loving this gun right now. It is taking some time for me to get adjusted to the playstyle. You can do well up close, as I mentioned. If you get a headshot, by the way, you can drop them with only 2 bullets. It's amazing. Like, those 2 bullets traveling at 1,200 RPM, if you line it up, you're gonna drop them instantly. It's amazing when you're able to pull it off. Like, it feels fantastic, but that doesn't happen every time. You're gonna wanna use this as a more medium to long range weapon. You're gonna wanna put yourself a little bit away from the objective and play more of a supportive role, and when you get into that mindset and you start to move around the battlefield in that fashion, you can really do a number on the enemy team. But I'd love to know what you guys think about the new AN-94. Are you loving it? Is it your new favorite gun? Are you a little disappointed by what they delivered on? Do you think some improvements could be made here and there? Let me know down below. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and so until tomorrow, have a good one, and take it easy.